Welcome back to Paul's Pod. We're in the studio for the first time in a while, and we've got a few special guests with me today. But a few things first. Shout out to Connor and Ben at Amity Studio for setting up the studio space. It's incredible. They're unbelievable what they do. So shout out Amity. Shout out to Cam Forbes as well, because without Cam Forbes, I wouldn't have known you guys. And yeah, my guests today are Will and Rufus, aka Nifty Carter. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
How's things, Will?
Yeah, good. Ready to go. Excited for the podcast. First one, so...
Is this the first one that you've ever done?
First podcast ever.
Oh, it's an honor. I appreciate it.
Same's here, yeah. We've had a busy morning down in London. We've already been swimming outdoors, running, kettlebells. It's been going off big time already.
Right, so for people that don't know, Will and Rufus, or Nifty, I'm going to call you Nifty.
Love it.
Will and Nifty are absolute, like, freak athletes. So you've just done the Ultra Snowdonia.
Yeah. UTS 50 or 55. Yeah, 55 kilometers around Snowdonia, 4 mountains, Snowden twice, 10,000 feet of elevation. Took us 11 and a half hours. And it was just never ending brutality. Just relentless. It was like you said to somebody, like, for me personally, I don't know how many times, but like rebuilt myself like 2-3 dozen times, meaning that I'm going to stop now. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. I feel like I'm going to die. Still a long way to go. And then, so from there, back up again. And then you're running again. And then back again. It was just never ending brutality.
How much of the preparation was mental and physical? Like, would you say it was fairly even, or would you say it was more mental than physical? Because obviously it's a massive physical challenge, but at the same time, 11 hours at 10,000 meters elevation. I mean, that's no joke.
Yeah. We'd done a lot of hiking before it. So we were already prepared on the hiking thing. We'd done the Welsh 3000s, which is a massive hike. Was it 16?
Yeah, 15 mountains over 3,000 feet in Snowdonia in under 24 hours with no transport.
So that was a hike, but the UTS is a run. So it was non-stop. We did the Welsh 3000s with a group. Yeah. So it was stop and start, have a butty. Like whenever we did Snowden in the past, it's you hike up quick, but not like you're gunning for it. A few butties on the way. UTS, poles, non-stop.
Yeah, I mean, the mental side of it is like we did loads of prep before it, and it's like everything. Once you do something once you've done it once, it doesn't feel so bad. So like we did some loops of Snowden, so we do Snowden twice in like 4.5 hours or something like that.
And that's running.
Well, it's a mix. Anything over 20 degrees. Any 20% incline, you're walking with poles. So you're doing 14-minute miles walking, so you're very fast hiking and then running downhill and running on the flats. But from a mental perspective, I'd say it's 90% or more, because it's just this permanent dialogue in your head because I think the brain is designed to protect the body. And it's like, so all the time it's thinking, right, how can I keep you safe? And you're trying to make it do something which isn't safe. So even on the Friday when we went to register, we drove to Snowden, which we'd done 2, 3, 4 dozen times. And I looked at Snowden and I thought, well, that can't be Snowden because it's too big. What is that mountain? It's huge. Who could ever run up that? And my head just imploded. And it was so I'm thinking, and then I'm having this dialogue like, but you've done it. I'm like, no, but this is different. Look at it from this angle. This big. How are you going to run that twice? And then that night I had completely fell apart. And then, then thinking that I was ready. And then, you get to the start line and off you go. And I felt, for me, I felt tremendous pressure. We were raising money for charity. And also it was like this idea of like, what if you don't finish? So you've done all your posts on Instagram. Oh, I'm doing the UTS. I'm doing the UTS. Oh, I did it. Oh yeah, I didn't finish. And there's loads of reasons for not finishing, not just injury, like DNF could be time. You timed out. You've missed a checkpoint.
Yeah, because Will, you were saying to me that so there's checkpoints on there. So if you don't hit a certain place by a certain time, you don't finish.
If you miss the checkpoint, you're out. That's it. Finished. So the first checkpoint was we went up Snowden, went down, and then went about 6 miles onwards. And a lot of people out of the race already by the first checkpoint. Do you know what I mean? You put all the time into the run, and within a few hours, you're out. It's finished. The London Marathon, did you see that guy? However many hours it took him to do, he finished. It was nighttime. Still finished, got a medal. UTS, you're out.
Doesn't happen.
No medal, no picture. How did the race go? Oh, well, basically. But the training leading up to it was unreal. We went to Snowden 7 weekends in a row, just me and Dad.
Wow.
We have the Garmins, so we recce'd all the routes. So we like broke it up into bits. The first one we did was 20 miles up Snowden twice from both sides. That was an eye-opener. But every single time we went out, we got a little bit more adapted mentally, physically. We learnt the mountains, so we knew when we were tired. And it was amazing. That it's like when you book something like a marathon, it's not the event's the best bit, but it's the lead up to it, the training runs. Say you're having a fight, the training that goes into the fight, it just takes you to that next level. So we finished the we finished the 55K straight away. Books the 100K. I've not booked it next year. It's on. It's happening. Dad's already booked it, and that's a different kettle of fish because that's through the night. So yeah, we started at 8, finished at 7:30. The 100K. What time do you start?
I don't know. I rely on naivety for these things. So like the less I know, is like the better it is. I think it starts about 2 a.m., 4 a.m. But you get to see. The reason I want to do it is you get 2 sunrises and 1 sunset.
Nice.
But yeah, and respect to people in the race that we were doing. We were doing the 55K. There was a 100K and a 165, so 100 miles. I mean,
so was there was the same race also?
There was 4. There was 4 races going on: a 25K, a 55K, a 100K, and a 165K.
Jesus.
But we joined up with the 100. So everyone had their own numbers on, and it would say what race you were doing. So ours was 55K, and then occasionally you'd see someone coming past, head down, veins popping out the arms, and you look at the thing, 100 miles on it. And it was amazing. We went to this aid station. I got talking to this guy doing the 100-mile. He'd been up for 2 days straight. He was like a zombie. He had his head down, and I'd seen that he was doing the 100-mile. I went over, sat next to him, gave him a glass of Coke. I said, "You've not come this far to not finish." I said, "It's done. You've got 10 miles. Let's go." And then funny enough, he went off. Me and Dad finished what we were doing, and then we ended up catching up with him. Head down. I said, "Remember me? Let's go." Thanked me for the pep talk. He said, "It's already done." I repeated what I said to him. Obviously, you would have finished. I don't know if you did finish, but you come that far, you are not going to finish.
So, out of the 55K race, how many people raced?
1,200 raced.
How many finished?
234 did not finish the race. So that was 234 people who turned up on the morning, expected to finish, but didn't.
That's heavy.
So how many of those 234 are going to come back and get it done this year? They've got a whole year now. We were well prepared. We knew the mountain. The first ascent up Snowden, we'd done so many times. We knew, do not leave it all on the first hill. Go up at about 60%, and you're getting people flying past you at like 90%, sprinting up. Then by the time we'd got to the second Snowden ascent, and then we went back up again, it was like a war zone, wasn't it? Everyone on the floor, blokes lying on their back. And one of the best parts of the whole race was on the second ascent. And Dad, with his Insta page, Nifty at 50, has got a, which if you give him a follow, you'll see all his motivational stuff. It's amazing. So many people get inspired by him. And there was this one bloke on the floor, sees Dad, goes, "Nifty!" Dad's like, "Yes, mate, let's go." Gets up off the floor, does a bit with us, inspired him, then he flies off. And yeah, just things like that, little things.
That's beautiful.
And me and Dad stayed together the whole race, didn't leave each other. Yeah, I was right behind him.
But Will was like, it's like running it with a spaniel. He was like, he'd run ahead, he'd run back, he'd run off to the left, he'd be chatting to people. So I reckon you did 60 kilometers easily. But chatting to people inside and helping people through their, because everyone that's doing I don't think anyone's doing an ultra for no reason. Because like you're paying good money to nearly kill yourself, and everyone's got a story. And when you're running around talking to people, it doesn't take a long time for people to say why they're there. And it's not always as obvious as like, dealing with grief. It's like all sorts of different reasons. But I think it's just when you're up there, like there's a great girl I follow from Liverpool called Nick, and she's always talking about mountain medicine. And when you're in the mountains, so whether it's hiking or whether it's when you're at 3,000 feet, above 3,000 feet, I definitely think something happens. I think you see so much Mother Nature. I say to people, it's like it's overwhelming. It makes you feel insignificant. There's one mountain we go to the top of called Menid Mawr, and you can see the Irish Sea, you can see the whole of Anglesey, you can see all of Snowdonia. And just no matter how you're feeling or what's going on in your day or what you're processing, everything just slows down a bit.
It's humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, humbling is
funny,
great.
It's funny you say that, because on the last ascent, everyone was in a pickle. So all the people we were passing, and me and Dad had quite a bit in the tank at this point, so we were gunning up. And the sun was setting. You could see the ocean as we were going up this hill. And this bloke was in a right hole when I was passing him. And I just turned to him and said, look, because his head was down. I said, pick your head up, look at the view, look at the sun. It's amazing. Just enjoy it. You don't get this on the London Marathon. And then he like replied back something like, I don't care about the view right now. Sort of just fuck off, mate, sort of chat. And it's just that mentality of I was going up enjoying it and he was going up negative, and even me trying to help him didn't help him. And I just thought, sound, well, I'm going to enjoy it. And that's what we were like the whole way around. We had a sense of humor. We were laughing with people, and some people would love it and it would inspire other people. We're just so overwhelmed by the spectacle. But I kept saying to Dad, I said, get energy off other people. So when you're passing other people, I said, we're going to take their energy and it's just going to carry us around the whole race. And what was the stats? So it's amazing with the stats that they give you for your whole race.
Yeah, we were at halfway, we were 850th. And I was 67th for my age group. And then we finished 500, placed 500, and I was 27th for my age group. And in they've got this race thing that tracks you, and it gives you your finishing time. And because of what we did in the last 5 miles, we finished an hour ahead of our predicted finish time from their whatever their analytics or whatever it produces. And we overtook 100 people in the last 5 miles. But we paced it right, and it's like so. Therefore, towards the back at halfway is where you need to be, because it's what you learn about ultra running is it's not about the pace. You can make up time, and it took me a bit of a time to understand that. And the race results showed that.
It's about preparation, and it's about pacing yourself. It's about staying positive, pushing yourself to the end. And we were expected to finish at 8:30, so all our family were getting geared for 8:30. All my grandparents were there. My mum was there. There was about 15 people there waiting for us. And then I was trying to push Dad up this last hill, and I just turned to him and said, everyone right now is waiting for us at that finish line. I said, do you want to keep them waiting any longer? I said, every single person that finishes before us, they're going to be thinking, how did they finish before them? And it just like flipped the switch for him. And then we were just going, weren't we? Popping salt tablets. We were on the glucose gels.
Yeah.
So whenever you're cramping on the hills, you can have these salt tablets or these glucose gels, and you can genuinely feel. So say like my left calf is like that cramp feeling that's coming. You pop a salt tablet, it just goes straight away.
Really?
Just goes straight to the muscle, eradicates it. On the last descent, I did 3 salt tablets, dropped them all. I thought my left leg was going to pop them, and go time. And then we finished, and the feeling when we finished on the line was like we had such a moment the last half mile, and energy came out of nowhere. Like you're going up a mountain an hour ago, legs cramping up, can't feel them, and then an hour later you're running through the town, and it's like you've not even ran. It's not even been running for 11 hours. We were sprinting through. We were having amazing moments, amazing conversations. A lot of emotions were coming out. And then when we finished at the end, it was just like, it was one of the most overwhelming feelings, because you've been on this roller coaster throughout the whole day. You've been envisioning the moment you passed the line. But what we didn't want to do was overthink the finish line. We wanted to enjoy, be present throughout the whole thing. And yeah, what a day.
And it's also not only the emotions of the day, it's the emotions of the whole months leading up to it.
Yeah.
So Nifty, you said that everyone has a story as to why they were doing the ultra marathon. What was the reason that you, at your age, have come to the decision that you wanted to do something like this?
Well, I've always been fit-ish, like just doing bits and bobs. But during lockdown, William and I could only see each other outside, so we'd go and do circuit training, and that sort of started it. And then it carried on into I was doing a lot of hiking, a lot of walking. I wasn't running at all. And then my girlfriend was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And we had this like agreement that we'd try and tip as much positivity into each day as possible. And it wasn't like just chest banging stuff, but just about little things, just making sure that the days were, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, and then I felt a tremendous responsibility to Pippa. You know, she's got 2 beautiful kids, both at the time. One was at uni, still is. One was prepping up for A-levels, and you know, she's a mother, and she's an awesome individual, and she's got a lot going on. And I thought, well, what can I do to make her not worry about me? And just for some reason, one night I thought to myself, do you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to I thought I just need to show her that I'm okay. And for me, being okay translated just to moving. So the next morning I got up and I did 5 press-ups, 5 sit-ups, and 5 squats. And then that evening I did 5 press-ups, 5 sit-ups. Don't know why. And it was like, well, if she can see me doing something consistently, something like with a routine to it, and it's healthy and it's this and it's that. And I did it always did it in the bedroom, at the bottom of the bed. In the mornings, Pippa would be watching the news. In the evening, watching something on TV. So that started, and I did that for a week or 2 weeks, and then 10 of each became 5 each became 10 of each, and then I thought, oh, that's going quite well, and then it became really important to me that I did it. It's like for my mental health, I thought this is great, and it was some days I didn't want to do it, and then it's like progressed. Sort of fast forward to now, it's a 40-minute routine in the morning involving yoga and planks and kettlebells and all sorts of stuff. And it's just a very positive way to start the day. And I was out running, walking one time, and we'd done the 3,000 the year before, Welsh 3,000 the year before, and I thought, oh, I could do with another challenge. So I looked and I thought, I need something that frightens me that I know I can't finish. And I looked at loads of different challenges, and I looked at the UTS 50, and I thought, straight away, there's no point in looking at that because I can't finish it. And I thought, right, that's it. So
at this point, when you were looking as well, like how much running were you doing? Like
zero running. I was doing hiking, and I used to hike with a 20-kilo vest, and I had a kettlebell. I was jump rope skipping, so I'd had weighted skip rope. So I was involved in fitness, but I wasn't running. So I signed up for this for 6 months to go, and thought I better start running. And I remember the first time I ran 3 miles or 5K, and I just thought, this is unbelievable. And then the voice in my head was like, yeah, it's great, but you're a long way off. Plus I was training in Chester, which is as flat as a pancake, so I've got no elevation at all. So all the training was kind of wrong. Pippa's journey with cancer meant that I gave up work to be with her. And it's not that she needed looking after, but I didn't want her to ever be by herself. So friends would come around and I'd go for a run. So I never knew when I could train. So there was no schedule. But I'd get out, and it was good because it just all fitted into that conversation around, I was keeping a handle on things.
No, it was you getting stronger, not weaker.
Yeah, true. And it did, and you can't. I say to people, when you've exercised, especially when you don't want to exercise, you feel so sanctimonious about yourself. You're like, you're a good guy. You've done that. You didn't want to do it, and you did it. And look at you now. And how do you feel? And I say to people, it's like, I never don't have to drag myself out of the house. When I'm lacing up my trainers, I'm like, the voice is going, well, you're a bit tired from yesterday, and your Garmin's suggesting a rest day. And do you really need to do it? And you could do it tomorrow. And it's like, guys, we're just quiet for a minute. We're getting the trainers on, and it's happening. Because I've done it so many times, I know how I feel afterwards. But yeah, like William says, it's, maybe it was a coping mechanism. It certainly is now. Now I know, like if the walls are closing in, it's like, just move, just do something. And it works for me. And I'm not saying it's a panacea for everybody, but it works for me. But when you live in a house with somebody who's got, 10 tumors on the back of their head, you can't you can't say out loud that you don't feel like doing something because you don't quite feel like it. It's like, and since then, it's like, when I was training, when we did Snowden for the first time twice, I got cramps in my thighs, and I'm stood there going, oh, this is awful, and it's painful, and I can't go on, and poor me, and will they send a helicopter if you've got cramp in both of your thighs, and all this kind of stuff. And I just remember thinking, or could feel Pippa laughing her head off, like, just like looking at me going, mate, you've got a momentary soreness in your leg. I've got tumors everywhere, and you'll want a helicopter to come and pick you up for your thighs. So it's in those moments that you can say to yourself, you know, it's going to pass. You're going to get over it. You're going to carry on. And it's fantastic. You know, Pippa left me with so many fantastic sort of qualities from her attitude. You know, she was diagnosed with 6 months to live and got herself a new professor, and then lives for 18 months, you know, joking last Christmas, because the Christmas before was supposed to be her last Christmas. So I'm like saying, this is going on forever. And like these Nifty t-shirts, like the Nifty brand, I said out loud stupidly in front of Pippa, I can't find a t-shirt with the words I want on it. And she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, oh fuck. I know what you're thinking. I'll get onto it now. So launched a t-shirt company. No experience in t-shirts, but it's like when somebody is processing and dealing with what she's dealing with, and you're saying, I want to start a t-shirt company because I can't find the t-shirt I want, but I don't know how to source the t-shirts, get them print. She just like looks at you like, just really? Is that it? If that's it, then you're an asshole. And then that was just towards the end of October, and they were launched like 6 weeks later. And Pippa said, we'll get them launched before Christmas. I'm like, and you want to say, well, I can't do it before Christmas. I don't even know how to do it. And it's just around the corner and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, she just looks, and they can see her now, just look at you like, mate, get it done. And we launched them, I think just about 48 hours before Christmas, but it got done. And, you know, her legacy within me, like, will just live on. It's every day, every moment of every day. It's like, it's beautiful. And it's, you know, it's grief, but it's beautiful grief. And I don't ever want it to go away. I want it to just
inspiring,
mold around me like a warm coat. You know, it's just
this guy, when we first started training, he couldn't barely do a press up, could barely run around a football pitch, couldn't do a sit up. His squat was so bad, like I wouldn't even call it a squat. And then to just see, like, for me to try and train him, it was like, could barely even, what can we do if you can't do anything? And then he'd show up the next day, and then he'd show up the next day, and then I'd tell him things he'd need to be doing outside of the sessions. And literally from that point on, it was just like every single session, he got that little bit better, a little bit more adapted. And the stuff he was doing outside, and his diet, and the motivation behind the workouts, and the fact he was able to come and do the workouts and empty everything in the tank. It's that every time I work out or we work out, it's like you want a challenge. You want that moment in the workout where you question everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this. That little voice in your head, and then you go, no, we're doing it. And the journey he's been on, he'd not been up Snowden ever.
No.
Lived in North Wales his whole life, sat on his doorstep, and now he's the mountain guy. So the journey just progressively building up, and people think it has to be this sudden, drastic thing. Just every day, do something, break a sweat every day, go up a mountain on the weekends, run every day.
It's like people say to me, oh, you're so lucky. I say, F you, it's nothing to do with luck. This is 2 years in the making. This is 2 years of daily chipping away at it. This isn't just, I didn't decide to get, you know, beach ready, you know, at the end of May. And, you know, Will has been such an inspiration and good coaching and good mentoring as well. But you find pieces. I remember when I was out walking and I wanted to increase a bit, I bought a 20-kilo weighted vest, and I was out walking quick, and I could hear my heart beating, and I thought, oh my gosh, my heart's going to leave my chest. And the voice in my head is saying, yeah, you're going to be the first person that's going to be found on the side of the road whose heart has not only left his chest, broken through all the ribs, it's got through a weighted vest, and it's now not pumping away next to you, and you'll be forever known as that guy. So for that 5 seconds, I thought of nothing else. And with all the stuff that was going on with Pippa, my mind was never not on a spin cycle. And I was thinking, wow, hold on a second. That was 5 seconds of bliss. And then we did the Welsh 3000, and Mick Carron that took us around. He said to me, you're not the youngest of guys. Are you going to be okay? I said, he said, it's going to be hard. And I said, well, that's why I've signed up. And that's why I signed. And then it suddenly, so when Will's just saying a second ago, it's like, when you're doing something that's so physically demanding that the body can only focus on that. I've tried meditating, and it's not my thing. But I say to people, if the goal of meditation is to find the gap between the thoughts and that peace and that silence, then however you get there, that's meditation. So when we're doing kettlebells with Will, and Will's making me do 4th 1-minute plank, and I didn't want to do the 1st minute plank, it's like you finish it and suddenly the world arrives again. But for that 4 minutes, that's all you were focusing on. And it's got to be healthy for you. Maybe there's healthier ways, less physical ways of doing it.
I agree. I think for me, I've always been like that. You know, I've always needed sport or needed like vigorous exercise for me to calm my mind, because my mind goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It just always has. And like you said, doing workouts that just, you know, they're so hard that that's the only thing that you can focus on when you're in the moment. That is a form of meditation for sure, because like you said, you're separating your thoughts away from your conscious mind and you're just focusing on one thing. And I feel like the feeling that you get after it as well, like especially when you've done a hard work and you go sauna and you've been in the sauna and you do an ice plunge, and then it's like that feeling you get after of knowing you've put your body through all that work. It's like, oh, you can just feel that almost weight off the shoulders. Just go, oh, I'm so much more clear-minded.
Nothing beats that feeling when all you want to do is get into bed. All you can do is lie on your back, and then within a minute you're asleep. And every day I search for that moment of when I get upstairs and I know I've done everything in the day that I wanted to do, and I hit my back on the bed, I get the pillow, and I'm out like a light. But I've just had a hammock put in the garden. Absolute game changer. Like that feeling when I hit the hammock and my whole back is just resting on it and I'm staring at the sky. Since I've had the hammock in, I've not watched telly once. Just from being outside, just chilling, get a podcast on, shut my eyes, asleep within 30 seconds. I'm famous for falling asleep. Like I can just fall asleep like that.
A bit like Cam Forbes.
Bit like Cam Forbes. But I'm hoping that's for different reasons. Where he falls asleep. But yeah, it just helps you relax more. Like I'm a lot more relaxed person when I've got my workout in compared to if I don't. It's like all pent up within inside me, and it's like you're working out the anxiety. It's like every drop of sweat, it's like that little bit of coming out of you. You're just feeling better. So yeah.
So you're a beast. Like you are literally, and I'm not saying this because I've just met you or you're on the podcast. Like I've met you through Cam, and I'm so lucky that I've met you, because you see the people that, you know, like a David Goggins or like the hardest geezer, these absolute mindset killers that just smash everything that they put their mind to. And you're the first person that I've ever met in person that I can like really see. It's like, wow, this guy, like it radiates off like the work that you put in. I mean, like you were saying, your workouts is normally you're up at 4:30. Like, what would you say is your morning routine?
At the moment, the morning routine is wake up, cold shower.
What time?
Straight away, 4:30, straight into the cold shower. And then I've got the Sam Harris waking up meditation app, 10 minutes. Then I have a yin yoga app that I do like static sort of stretching, passive stretching. Like when I wake up in the morning, my whole body is just like sore, tight, questioning everything. How am I going to get through today? And then by the time I've had my cold shower, I've meditated and I've stretched. My body's like, right, time, go time now. Drive to the gym for 5 hour training session myself, have a shower. Then the client gets to the gym, blitz him for an hour, shower, home, breakfast. And then I do landscape gardening. So I'm grafting all day, wheelbarrows, digging. But actually, funny enough, yesterday was my last day landscaping. So I'm going into full-time PTing starting Monday, which I cannot wait for because I'm like a zombie. And then, yeah, finished landscaping at 4:30. Client's already waiting at mine for a session. Do him. Then I have an hour gap between then and Muay Thai. So that's my hour of sleep. So I get half an hour sleep. And then I've got half an hour to psych myself up to get into the class. Then I do my class, get back. Mum's usually made steak and salad. Have a nice catch up with my mum, who I live with. Talk about the day, just go through things. My mum's amazing with talking about things to do with like mindset and why I'm thinking a certain way. Shout out to mum. She's amazing. She's into all her Buddhism and yoga, and she really encourages me to be less judgmental or having expectations from people and getting wound up by things. And then, yeah, take the dog for a walk, straight to bed, beeline for bed, and that's the day. But starting of next week, full-time PTing, which is going to just level me up in so many ways. I'm going to be able to do more content, going to be able to work on my online programming, which will be dropping soon, Willpower Chester. And yeah, really exciting times. And Dad was my first ever client. And when we first started training together, it was kind of just like a moment where I was just like, I am made for this. Training people, pushing people, knowing the right times to push the buttons. And like seeing what I did with him, for him being a middle-aged bloke and the condition he started in, if I can do that with him, I could do that with anyone. And now he's running ultra marathons, swinging. He's just bought his first 216 kg kettlebells. He was on the 20 kilo single this morning, light work. Whereas when we first started, he was swinging the 12, and it was like a 60 kg kettlebell for him, which is a big part of the kettlebell trainers, making them look light. With any weightlifting, but mainly with kettlebells, it's like you don't want to be lifting a bell where you're like, wow, that looks heavy. You want to be swinging a bell where they're like, they can't really tell how heavy it is. They can see the big bells, but they're like, wow, he's moving that. Surely it's not that heavy. Oh yeah, they're 20 kilo bells. So
it must be so amazing to be on this journey with your dad.
yeah,
Like no more than just a middle-aged man, but like it's your dad, and like seeing.
That's this middle-aged man.
But it's true. Like it's. I mean, you know, the way that you've helped train him has not only helped him physically, but also mentally as well, I can imagine. Yeah. And to be on that journey together has brought you guys even closer than before, I can imagine.
My mate said, like, I didn't think you guys could get any closer. But then when we did the ultra, we somehow took it to a level we didn't even know existed. And it's like, just, yeah, I can't say how much I love my dad. And I just want to be with him every day and want to be pushing him every single day. And that'll never change now. And yeah, it's amazing, and his story and everything. It's blessed to have him.
But we're on, the thing is, like with Will and I, like when we're trying to organize something, if it's just Will and I, and we always like to get stuff done early, so we'll go and do Snowden, and we'll be back in Chester for midday. So people are just getting going, and we've done that. But the point being is that we then can join in with other stuff. We don't, then it's family stuff, and it's going out, and it's having fun, and it's going to the market and having a glass of wine and a burger or whatever it might be as a reward at the end of the week. But like, if Will and I say we're meeting at 3 a.m., it's done. Once someone else says, "Oh, can I join you?" I'm like, Will, you know, where are you? Oh, I'm just in Costa. Oh, mate, it's like, no, mate, it's just 3 a.m. It's just, you got one job, and then we'd know it, and it's like, and then we'll do our thing, jump in the water at the end of whatever we've done, and then back home. But we know that. And then when we're out, we're always on the same page, like energy wise and getting it done wise. And the conversation is always the same. Will's always checking in with me. How's morale?
Morale out of 10. He always says 10. Every time 10, no matter how bad he is like 10, 10, 10. But now and again, when he's in his absolute hole and a half, it might go down to like an 8 or a 9.
No, 9.5.
9.5 is
the lowest I've been prepared to admit. When in my head it's been like a 2.
How difficult was it for you to keep your emotions together for the ultramarathon?
It was emotional. When again, it was like an 11.5-hour meditation, because all you're just thinking about is just getting to the next aid station, is about getting it done. But talk about naivety. I didn't even know there was cutoffs. There was loads of stuff I didn't know. I didn't know if you took a bottle of water off a family member on this who was coming to see you, get disqualified.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because it's an unfair advantage. There was loads of, you get DNF'd for just loads of, if you started without poles and then someone gave you halfway around, there was loads of reasons to get DNF'd.
Dad was obsessed with the rules.
Yeah,
he was obsessed with the kit list, the preparation, whereas I'm like, we'll turn up and it's getting done. Like, it is what it is. Whereas Dad, but that was good because it helped me be more organized and more prepared. But there was a lot of people who just were not prepared for that race, and I hope that it's a big weight they get back on it.
Where did you get your mindset from? Like, what made you want to turn into the beast that you are now?
Just grew into it, just matured. When I was younger, it was all like techno parties, up all night, till I was about 22. From like 18 to 22.
But how old are you now?
25. So, and then it just grew and grew and grew and started doing more stuff.
We lost you as a son for that period.
Yeah.
You went off and just like,
Manchester.
Glad you made it back. There were times I thought you were never coming back. It was going to be in a box.
A lot of it was...
You had fun though.
I did have fun at the time, but the problem was I'd have friends who they could party all weekend and then they'd be fine all week. Whereas I was such a self-critic of myself. When I would do it for that whole week, I would be like my own worst enemy. of everything that would happen on the night. But getting into Cam Haines, Goggins, all those, Jocko, massive, probably my biggest influence is Jocko. Just those guys. I think if they were about, or I knew about them when I was younger, maybe things would be different. But just like, I feel like the content you consume is the quality of your thing. So if you're consuming shit content, watching telly, watching reality television compared to reading, podcast, educating, mindset, your just whole quality of life is going to be different, and they just steers you in the right direction. And before you know it, you are that person. So,
but you're a different gravy, and what I mean by that is, like, the other day or a couple of months ago, William said to me, "I'm really frustrated with the speed of which the clients are going with the PT," and he said, "I know what it is." He goes, "People are anxious about training with me. They think it's going to be a lot of." Will was getting this weird thing where people are saying to me, "I want you to PT me, but I want to get fit first." I'm like saying to William, "What is that all about?" But I said to him, "Look at you." Look
or
at,
one session and never seen again.
But look at your reel. And look at your reel is scaring people. Anyway, so I said to William one day, common sense. I said, just tone it down a bit. Take it from a 10 to a 6. Take on some clients that, he said, I just want people that want to get as really involved, want a proper beast in, and want to really do some work. And I said, maybe do some softer stuff. And he went quiet for a minute. And this is all in the same conversation. And he looked at me and he goes, no. He says, I'm not compromising on anything. He goes, I know the PT I want to be. I know who I want to PT. And I said to him, I said, that is just frighteningly like focused. And I said, well, then therefore it may take a bit longer, but you must never give up on that. And then say it may take a bit longer. And I was saying to him, oh, you might speed things up. And then quite quickly after that, he tracks one client, another client. And I said to him, these clients you're getting now, they are going to be your biggest ambassadors, because they were buzzing off it. They wanted Will to, you know, whatever the word, beast them or whatever it might be. And I said, they're going to go back and you're not going to be able to shut them up. And we know now, and Will knows now, and he can see the client base growing. And you're getting, and then he said the other day, he said, I like some female clients, but you know, I'd not coached female clients before, and I'm not sure how that would work. Well, you're getting female savages, aren't you now?
Yeah. Talking of female savages, I was listening to a Cam Haines thing the other day, and he was saying how men are physically stronger than women, but mentally, endurance-wise, women, he believes, and I actually believe from doing the ultra, women or most of them are stronger than the men. When we went up Snowden for the second time, it was all men on the floor. There were no women on the floor. The women were like head down.
That's true.
We followed this woman near enough the whole way round. We just kept seeing her, She stuck to our pace, and she was unreal. All the women, I bet you would have finished that race. It was all men. And yeah, really interesting. Really interesting.
But we tell you about naivety during the race, what I didn't appreciate. So I got my Salomon hydration vest. I got 500 ml of water here. I got 500 ml of water there. I've trained like 600 miles with it on. We're coming off the first time off Snowden, running along, and the bottle falls out. The bottle's never fallen out before. It's got a little strap that holds it in there. And I'm thinking, gosh, that's interesting, as it's falling out. And then I hear this crunch. Not only does it fall out, it lands under my foot, and my foot snaps the bottle, the top of the bottle. So now it's not a bottle anymore. So point of saying naivety is, straight away I thought, oh, that's not great. But I thought, you know, so I've got 500 ml here, about to arrive at aid station. What I'll do is I'll fill this one, the broken one, twice, drink it twice. So I've had a litre, carry half a litre. So I'm now half a litre up. And straight away my brain went, yeah, that adds up. Off we go. Anyway, so the people that are DNFing did not finish. And when you're hearing their stories on the Facebook page and stuff like that, it's all about, I didn't have enough water. I didn't have enough water. I only had a litre between each aid station. I only had 2 litres between each aid station. I'm thinking, shit, I had 500 ml.
I had 2. So when I would be going up and I'd look behind me and Dad would be there pickled, and I'd be like, get on this, mate. Get him on my water.
Like,
and then we were drinking from streams.
It's like a newborn lamb on his suckling on his teat.
People were refusing to drink from the mountain water. I always drink mountain water. I think it's amazing. And you get people who drink tap water, but they won't drink the mountain water. And they might have been the people who dehydrated and didn't finish because they refused to drink out of the mountain. But I love it. Whenever we go on a run, one of my highlights is just drinking that fresh mountain water.
I had some fresh water when I was in the Amazon, like from the rainforest water. Oh, amazing. But like it's amazing because like you were saying, you only had a small amount of water, and there were these people that were complaining that they didn't have enough water. But it's obviously it's a sign of the mental side that's broken.
Yeah,
which is why they've, oh well, I can't continue anymore.
Yeah.
I think with anyone, everyone has the same mental battle within themselves every day. I mean, you have a great group chat that you started off not long ago where you've got all your clients and a few other people as well that are in there, and everyone's posting every day about the killer workouts they're doing. And it just shows that when you're in a community and everyone's doing, and you can see everyone putting it together, it really does make you think, oh fuck, okay, I need to fucking, do something here, because otherwise, all this time goes on and you're not training and your body's feeling shit, and because your body's feeling shit, your mind's gonna feel shit, and if you're not eating right, it's all these things that all come intertwined. And I've been I'll be the first to admit, I've been lazy with that sort of stuff. I mean, like, as of recently with my injury, you can almost let it take over you, but it's the battle within the mind that you've got to train. It's training the mind to have the power over the mind over the body, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it just does, like you said, it just one day at a time, because with me, I mean, I don't know about you, but with me, I've found that sometimes when you overthink, we think, oh wow, like I've got so far to go. It can be a bit overwhelming when you're thinking too far ahead. Whereas the challenge should just be, right, just take it one day at a time. But it's not easy for people, and you gotta be willing to have that battle within yourself. And I think having a PT like you, or finding, the Keep It Nifty Instagram page, is a great motivation for people. Like I think I wouldn't have had that if I didn't go to the gym in Liverpool. Like for me, it was, I'm around all these pro athletes. I'm a complete amateur, and I'm complaining about my stuff, and I'm seeing these guys training like fucking killers, pro athletes, like risking their life and trying to make their entire family, like they're trying to pay for their entire family's livelihood essentially off kicking and punching each other, which is bonkers. And these guys are training with like blown ACLs or torn biceps,
always injured,
always in the
octagon at 70% as well.
Exactly.
Overtrained.
And when you're surrounded by people like them and they're pushing you, and you see the way they train and how hard they train, it rubs off onto you. And it's the same thing. And I don't know where I've gone with this tangent, but it is all about mindset. And I think as long as you can accept that, nothing's easy.
Every time you win that battle, it gets a little bit easier. And then before you know it, it's not even a question. It's just part of you.
But I was saying to Pippa one day, I said, oh, I can't keep posting my jump rope on my private Instagram account. I said, it's annoying me. I said, I need to set up a new Instagram account. I said, but I'm a bit embarrassed.
You were a skipper first, weren't you? He was the skipping guy. And then he was the hiking guy. And then he was the running guy. And then he was the mountain guy.
But I said to her, I'm a bit embarrassed about doing it, and it's like making a big declaration. And she sort of gave me that look, like I was talking about before, that, it's not 10 tumors will touch your fucking brain. So just get the page going. So I set it up, and it's got you, like you're just saying there, there's that Nifty, still Nifty at 50 Instagram page. It just weeps positivity. Everybody on it is like, what do you say? Gassing everybody. Every time you put up a post, I mean, you can put up a relatively ordinary post and you're getting 12 comments. That's brilliant. Get after it. People are direct messaging me. People are saying what I'm doing is inspiring them with their mental health journey. And it's like, you chat to people, like there's this crazy girl on there. She's like 20 must be now. She thinks she's Izzy Adventures. So she comes out of COVID sideways, doesn't know what to do. I think she was 17 at the time. So a bit like I was saying before, she interpreted sorting it out as just moving. So she gets a rucksack and a tent and whatever, and she walks, I forget what it's called, it's like this 270 miles distance in the peaks. It's probably got a name, has got a name. And she says to her mum and dad at 17, I'm off to do this. And they're like, sound, go for it. So she walks it solo, gets to the end, and it's like, life's starting to make more sense. And I was chatting with her the other day on Messenger and just saying, like, I knew intuitively what I needed to do for shit to make sense. And you knew intuitively. And I said to her, what worries me, what I think about is like, what for that person that's that intuitive light bulb hasn't gone on. So what do they do? Where do they go in themselves? Where do they go outside of themselves? And it makes me sort of conscious that everyone's processing stuff. And suddenly I think I would have been guilty prior to being with Pippa through her journey and how it impacted me mentally, of thinking that Mental health was something other people had. Mental health issues were other people's shit and didn't really understand it. And then when you start talking to people, like on the Nifty account, like everyone on it is processing stuff. And therefore, I think everybody is. And it's like, it's how you then interact with people. Like William said to me yesterday, which was an interesting observation. We were talking about getting cross with people, shouting at people, losing your ass about something. And I said to William, well, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, you've never lost your ass recently. And I'm like, yeah, I suppose so.
I said, I've not seen you lose your shit once with anyone or anything. You've never I've never seen anger come out of you. It's just more just like raw emotion. And then you get it out and then we keep moving forward.
I think for me, if I got to answer that, it's like, I think that's because it's like, I assume everybody's dealing with shit.
Yeah.
Not all the time. I'm not, I'm not saying. There's a lot of times I just think
everyone
someone's a massive
whether it's
bellend,
a breakup or people can not have anything going on and have the worst mental health.
And it's also get frustrated with people when they say to me, oh yeah, but it's like nothing like you're going through. It's like, no, hold on a second. If it's real to you, it's real. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what it is. If that was your favorite coffee cup and now it's on the kitchen floor, that's enough. It doesn't, there's not a spreadsheet. There's not a
criteria.
There's not a score. There's not a measurement of it. If it's your shit, it's your shit.
I think we're living in a very, I always say, I think we're living in a crazy time, but there's never ever been a time when it's not been crazy.
No.
So it's all about perspective. Like there's a lot of things to be grateful for the time that we live in. But I think, like you said, the more you realize how many people are going through it, like you just think, mate, so many people have issues. And there's a certain, I forget who says it, but not even in a bad way, but you know the idea that, because everyone's going through it, everyone's got their own problems. No one almost cares about what you're going through. So when it comes to doing the workout, it's like, okay, well, fuck, I don't want to do it. I feel shit today. It's like, well, there's a lot of people that feel shit today.
Yeah.
So no one's going to give a fuck about how you feel because everyone's got their own feelings to feel about. So you need to battle through and just fucking do it.
No one cares. Work harder.
No, exactly. But then also the sad thing about how many people are depressed or have their issues and how many people don't find a way to kind of deal with it. Like you look at people in society, you were saying that people, they kick off and they have arguments, and you see it a lot with society because of social media doesn't help either. You see people that, read the news every day, for example, or just are so enclosed into a social media life, and they don't, like people that have kids, for example, and they're living in a time when energy bills are so expensive and they can't afford to have heating in the house. So, they've got so many bills to pay for. They've got so many issues with their own family as well. And it's like, well, you need to find a way in your madness to find that 30 minutes in your day to try to release some of that devil that's inside of you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
I call it scaffolding. It's like you're saying, if you're dealing with something either financially or emotionally or whatever it might be, I say to myself, like, if I know I've got a tough day coming up, either like emotionally, I think, right, what scaffolding can I build around myself to support myself? What can I do for me? But a bit like Will said a second ago, I think a lot of that's born out of the fact that you've done it now. Well, for me personally, I've done it for like 2 years now, every day doing something. So I know I know how I can help myself. And people always talking about time. And if I've got a problem with time, I just say, get up an hour early. And you say devils, like I call them demons inside. Like recently, last week, I've gone through it sideways. Every day has been just hard.
War.
It's like war. So I've got this like stupid conversation where I have with myself, which is, right, I'm going to go for a run I'm going to set my alarm for 6. I'm going to go for a run at 6:30 in this forest near me. And then I'm thinking, yeah, but what if I wake up and the demons are like already set 2 on me? You're not good enough, Nifty. Why don't you have a lie in Nifty? Why don't you just chill out, Nifty? You went for a run yesterday, Nifty. So I did this thing. So I woke up at 5. So my alarm went off on my watch at 6 and I'm already running in the forest. And I'm like, fuck you, demons. Like, you thought we were getting up at 6. I'm halfway through the fucking run. Where were you? And it's like a stupid kidology, but it's like, I'm running in this forest all by myself. Chest is out. I'm feeling proud. I'm feeling good about myself. And of course I would have got my alarm had gone at 6. I would have still gone on the run. But just these little tweaks. And then now you're thinking, now I'm back an hour early. What can I do? Spreadsheet open, do some planning for my future, prepare a nice lunch, whatever it might be. But it's suddenly you sort of feel like you've bought yourself an hour. And I never get tired. It's like you get up at 5 and 5 has become, since Pippa passed away, 5 has become like the new slot. Trust me, I was not like Will's the 4:30 a.m., 4:15 a.m. guy. I was not. I love bed, love sleeping in, I love life. But since Pippa passed 5 a.m., it's like lights are on, what we're going to do. And it's like, well, you're awake now, let's do something. So today, I think I was up about 5:30. William had already done like 100 burpees outside. True story. And we're going to see Guns N' Roses tonight, and we'll go back, cook lunch. And it is about just thinking, and when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to think, that was a good day. That was you were gifted that day. It's like, sorry, I keep crying all the time.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry at all.
But I do cry a lot. I was crying on the tube on the way here, just a few tears. You just think about something. But it's like, you feel like you've been gifted a day. And it's like, so it's like, well, if you're saying today was a gift, what did you do with that gift? And today's unusual, in London, fancy London, swimming in open water this morning, went for a run, chucking kettlebells around, here with you today. It does feel like being in your own like documentary. It's like sick. And then we're going to go home. We're going to have a few glasses of fizzy wine at lunchtime, preload before GNR, go and see Guns N' Roses. I'm seeing the Pretenders, one of the bands that I grew up with. Glenn Matlock, the bass guitarist, is from the Sex Pistols, I'm going to be fangirling like big time. And then, we'll go to bed later and think, that today we squeezed today hard. And then tomorrow is going to get squeezed as well.
About having a purpose, striving towards that business or personal goals, what you want to aspire to do, and then enjoying life in the process and not having stress, not letting things, and being able to talk to yourself, talk yourself off a cliff edge. But it's all positive. We're moving forward. We're getting stronger, and we're just like, we were walking through Muswell Hill, and there's a memorial of a couple, and they were sat in the car. The tree from the park came, crushed the car, unfortunately crushed the girl in the car, passed away unfortunately, but her partner, her boyfriend in the car, not a scratch on him. And it's just like, I look at stuff like that and I just think, wow, like anything can happen. Just make the most out of today. Enjoy life. Don't waste time just sat there on your phone, overthinking things, wishing you were someone else or doing something else. Enjoy what you're doing now. Make the most of the day. But it's crazy, the lessons life teaches you. And the more you go on in your life, the more lessons you learn, the stronger you become, the more grateful you become. But it's just a roller coaster. Like, I even have these days where it's just like, you wanting everything at once. I'm wanting my own gym. I'm wanting all these clients. I want to be S&C and pro athletes. I want to be having these big transformations. But it's like having the patience to be like, it's going to happen. Just do the best you can today, and then keep going, and then just visualizing, and it will materialize and it will happen.
I think I rely a lot on I call them micro wins. And it's like, as people say to me, they'll say to me, can you write me a program? I'm saying, I'm not writing you a program. Just walk 3 times a week for 20 minutes and get a sweat on.
Walk, it's not, press ups, stakes.
It's micro
sunlight.
wins. And I said, do that for a week. And if it feels better, increase it the following week. If it doesn't, carry it on for a bit. It's like, and I think people set these unrealistic, huge goals. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to go every week. And then I'm going to run the London. It's like, just chill out. Like, just start off and I try and say to people where my journey started. And it's like, just keep it micro. And if it's micro, like, if you've got stuff, little wins that you can fit in, like sometimes I'll be saying to myself, I'll say, you don't have time. And then the voice in my head says, you don't have 5 minutes. I'm like, well, of course I've got 5 minutes. Well, let's do something for 5 minutes. And you're like, oh, okay, I get the point.
Like this morning, 10-minute AMRAP. How many burpees can you do in 10 minutes? It doesn't matter how many did I do? I did like 150. But it doesn't matter if you do 150 or you do 25, as long as within that 10 minutes, you went on a journey, you thought, I can't do any more, then you still kept banging them out. You didn't get defeated and you kept going till that last second. And that's all that counts. Like I say to my clients now, I say, it doesn't matter what you've done in the session in terms of weight or reps. all that matters is, did you give 100% in that session? And if you've given everything you have in that session, which they do because I'm training them, then they can't go wrong. And the next session they give 100%. Like you, every session we've done together, he literally gives it everything he can, and then you just keep improving. You keep improving. So
it's a giggle. You know, when you're out, even on the UTS, we
laughed the whole way. We were laughing at people. We were having laughs with people. We cried together. We laughed together. It was crazy, but it's just having a sense of humor.
And like you joke about, like I was saying to Will, like I've just bought 2 16s, and we're like just teasing me about it, and we're just having, it is enjoyable, and it's like, and the benefits of it are like just great. Like even today, I said to you, like we're walking through Muswell Hill, and after what we've done this morning, even I'm thinking to myself, you should maybe get a taxi. You know, you should maybe hire a scooter. And I'm thinking, you know, you're still marching up this hill. And again, it's like, what a great conversation to have with yourself. Not marching up the hill, sweating, feeling out of shape, and saying to yourself, I need to get in shape tomorrow because this is not okay. But then it bleeds into, like I say to people, it's like, if I can start the day well with something like that, I say to them, it like bleeds and it resonates into the rest of the day. And it's like, if later in the day, which happens to me fairly often, the voice in my head says, you're not good enough, I can say, hold on a second, what were we doing at 7 o'clock this morning? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, okay, actually, yeah.
Well, that voice doesn't even exist because you've worked it out of existence.
Oh no, sometimes I'll say, yeah, it's gone, and then yeah, no, and I'm driving the bus, but every now and again the demon takes the wheel for a bit, and you got to wrestle it. Fuck me, I was this week, Tuesday or something, and you're like, shit, have we still got to go back and do this again? Have we got to start from scratch again? And it's like, right, what do we need to do? So set the alarm. I put my kit out, my running kit out on the floor. So not that I'm going to forget, but like as soon as I get out of bed, I'm like, oh, right there, that's it.
And it's easier as well when you wake up and it's just there. It's like, okay, go time. No time to mess about.
It's a declaration, isn't it? It's like, it's there. It's, you know, we're getting onto it. We're getting off, and it does. And I've started running without my top on recently, and it's like
it's gone full Goggins.
And it's just the fact that I'm not saying I've got. I was anxious about my body appearance, but I wasn't comfortable running, and now I'm like, do you know what? I'm 53. Check it out. It's a gift.
Shredded.
Enjoy it. It's my gift to you as I run past you. And that makes me giggle. And it's like thinking, you know, you're such a bellend. But it's like, well, you know, I feel like I'm in decent shape, and it's hot as hell. And it makes me think to myself, you know, this is some journey you've been on. Will and Max, Will's brother, who's in Australia, you know, we were out doing those circuits together, and he's a little savage as well. He's out posting us from Australia. He's out running here, running that, posting us pictures of his steak that he's cooking up. And it's just a good sort of vibe. And it's not all about high fives and whoop whoop. You know, we talk about crap. You know, there was, surprise, I was crying on the group chat the other day. It's like, you know, it's raw emotions, and people are talking about what they're struggling with. And it's a community that's just that helps each other, even when we're like injured and not doing stuff. It's still there, but it's a good feeling. And it's like you said before, you know, when you're spending time with your son, and you know, during lockdown that was all fucked up, and it's like now it's like I think to myself, you know, I've gotten such a good chunk of time with Will, and we're doing this, and we're doing that, and then we get home and eat awesome food, and,
ribber beef, lamb shoulders.
Because this is the chef guy. He goes to me the other day. He goes, should we just have a rib of beef? I said, Will, who even constructs a sentence like that? I said, hold on a second. I said, you know how to cook a rib of beef? He goes, oh, yeah, it's dead easy, isn't it? I'm like, wow. You know, next minute we're chomping onto this rib of beef. It was an extravagance financially, but you know, it was a reward, and it stretched across a couple of meals. And it's just, and then you sit there at the end of the day, and probably shouldn't say this because I'm trying to say it's all balanced, but then Will say, should we watch, there's this, we'll watch Courtney Dewwater doing a 200 miler on YouTube. And I'm like, Will, we've just spent like 7 hours in the mountains. And he puts it on. I'm obsessed with Courtney. I just think she is just like, you know, and she's trying to politic for a 500-mile ultra race. But of course, it's probably only her that can complete it. And she's just cool, and she's relaxed. And she like, when she said she went from Tough Mudders to marathons, and then she heard about ultras, and she discovered that you basically run 10 kilometers from aid station to aid station, have a quesadilla, a fizzy drink, and then you finish and you wait for everyone else to finish with a beer in your hand. And she said, why would you not want to get involved? And it is trail running, ultra running, whatever you're doing. It is that community of people, and no one talks about your finishing time. I'm a bit obsessed with it because my ego probably leads pretty strong.
Everyone was saying, well, why don't you do the 55K again, but just get a faster time? He's like, no one cares about the time. It's about the distance. We're not increasing the time. We are increasing the distance. 100K May. So we've got a whole year now to prep for the 100K. We'll do a few night runs. We'll be getting back in the mountains soon. We're actually running our own meetup on the mountains. We did our first one last month. So we're going to do one every month. We had about 8 lads on the first one, but we call it Mountain Medicine. So Mountain Medicine 2 is mid-July. And we're just going to keep getting more and more lads on the runs, and then just keep building it up, keep training all year. And every single lad who came and they experienced what we'd experienced in the UTS or the recce's, we kind of did, it's like the UTS, but we've made it into like a smaller version. And I think that's got a lot of legs as well, so we're going to just keep building that up as well.
I love it. Well, it's been an honor to speaking to both of you guys. I think it goes without saying that both of you are an inspiration to all people. You know, just me personally, I don't know, Cam as well, like, we are definitely taking a leaf out of both of your books because it rubs off onto people. You know, it's everything about your message is powerful. And I'm sure that you'll be helping a lot of other people online as well on your Keep It Nifty page and on your personal page as well. So where can people find you?
At Will Powerchester is my fitness page. And then drop me a message. I'm going to be dropping a manual soon on nutrition, sleep, all the important things that I get the most amount of questions off, and then a 4-week training plan. So at Will Powerchester.
Still Nifty at 50 on Instagram. It's just
nuts. Get on that Instagram page. It will inspire you.
It's a good community.
Dad does these monologues on the move, and they are unreal.
No editing, just straight
raw,
real emotion. Nothing else.
Raw AF, yeah.
But guys, honestly, thank you very much. It's been an honor to have you on. I've really enjoyed this conversation, to be honest. And there we go. Loved it. Thanks for the invitation as well. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, great podcast.
I love you, Will, mate.
Love you, man.
I love you guys. That's a wrap. Peace.